Who's going first? That's the question.
I'll go first. I'll go first, right? And get ready for this. My wild prediction for 2023 is that both Impact Wrestling and the NWA will be sold. And they will be sold to the same buyer. And that's all I'm going to say on the prediction. But that is what I believe will happen this year. I think they will both be sold and they'll both be sold to the same buyer. What do you think, Clark?
I just saw the look in your face, and I've got wheels in my head that I didn't know could still spinning right now. And I've got an idea of who that buyer might be. I mean, am I allowed to ask?
No. This is not a report, by the way. This is just a prediction. Now, maybe it's a prediction.
Picking.
Maybe it's a prediction based on a couple of rumblings, but it is just a prediction, right?
Alan's is like the scrolls told.
All I can think right now is maybe Freddie Prince. Maybe
no. He's doing
his own thing. Okay, I'm like, who would be interested in two?
Freddie Prince is going to come back.
That size, right? This moment, okay. The same buyer. That's fun. I love the prediction. I think it makes sense. I think a merger with those two rosters would be awesome. A third domestic competitor in America that could, if they get the financial backing necessary compared to what they have now, could potentially get a network deal to even further grow the space business-wise in the States and in North America. I would be blown away. I would say my number one comment on your prediction is I hope it comes true into the right hands and it's run really well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are we going to see NWA TNA back from the dead from 2003? Oh, come on, man. Is Slapnut's going to come back and win the 10 pounds of gold? Are we going to see like one of the 4 signs of the apocalypse right here? World's done. Cats and dogs are living together. We are screwed. Signs of the end times are upon us.
Just to be clear, I just want to go back to the prediction just for a second and just clarify that I do not know about a buyer who's interested in buying both. I do not know that part. But what I do know is that both are having issues currently and that both are considering the possibility of selling. So that's why, well, there's rumblings that both are considering selling. So if, could it be the same buyer? I think that if you were to buy Impact, then buying at the NWA at the same time would be the smart decision to put them.
One heck of a lot of sense.
Yep, there you are.
Impact and you get a BLT sandwich. Yeah, cool.
What are your thoughts, Kobe?
I mean, the thing I instantly think of is if that is true, and we can say who we believe the buyer would be, because I don't believe that WWE would.
No.
Elon Musk. I'm kidding. No.
Oh God.
If they are selling, Tony Khan's gonna buy them, and that's a scary part to think about, because that means he's bought Ring of Honor. That means he's bought Ring of Honor, Impact, and NWA if it happens.
Ben as commissioner.
I think we really got to think about saying Tony Khan saving professional wrestling. That conversation has a lot of negatives because he would have effectively killed 3 companies.
That would be awful. If Tony
would buy
them up, that would be.
Yeah, I'm an AW fan at the end of the day, but Tony.
Buying dead companies doesn't mean that you give credit to the person who purchased them for killing them. If they have to sell because they're financially unstable, that doesn't mean Tony Khan.
None of them have to sell.
You thought they were just
think about selling.
Then why didn't ROH keep running the company?
They were going to. They were. They were never not going to.
The thing is, we'll never know what their new brand was. They could have just.
No, well, we could assume based on what was said, and they were gonna aside from like the few world champions who were like the Briscoes, Bandito Gresham at the time. Aside from the few champions, the champions were going to be contracted, but they were going to hold it. I don't want to say like a GCW-esque, but they were going to just have monthly events. They weren't going to do weekly television. They were going to
why not?
Take the more independent promotion.
Was it because they couldn't afford it? Is that why they were going to scale back? They couldn't afford to produce it, or they weren't filling buildings? Why was it?
We will never know. It's one of those
Exactly.
things we will
It's-
never know.
The reason ROH sold was because it wasn't making the
Money.
they changed the business plan up a couple of times and none of them was successful. The last time that they were really going to push it was right before COVID with Marty Scurll as the new booker and co-booking, and it failed obviously because the pandemic hit and then Marty got cancelled. So then at that point they were like, well, let's open it up to possible buyers. Let's hear them out. And then they heard Tony Khan out and they sold it to him, and they obviously offered it to WWE as well, but they never really got anything back from them.
May I say something on that point as well about Ring of Honor and well, because this is something from a fan as well. When Ring of Honor was like going out of business and all that, I decided I wanted to have a look at their titles because I knew they were doing replicas and they were very interesting. So I bought one, which was this Figure Inc. Ring of Honor title up here. I'm just going to move that as it's fixed in place. But the problem was, looking at Ring of Honor website, that title over there was nearly 500 quid on their website going through Honor Club, right? I wasn't going to touch that. But I went to the actual supplier of that belt, which was, I think, Figure Inc. or something like that, and it was like 200. When you're selling a title like that, which is 2mm plates and doesn't even fix at the back, for over 500 quid on your own site, and then just the supplier's like, nah, I'm just halving it price. It showed there's a clear problem with your company. And
that's a great point, so.
And now it's doing something now. Is it better than what it was? I mean, we've heard from reports, they're drawing bigger crowds than where they were in the past. That's probably helping from AEW's influence and the name recognition. That's fine. I've downloaded Honor Club. I have paid the subscription. I am happy with it. Getting to see Ring of Honor's past and everything. The site works well. And the app's fine. I got no problems with it. Hopefully there'll be more expansion to it. Maybe even like a roster selection thing like on they've got WWE's where you can see everyone that's on the roster, the champions, even the alumni. Interesting. It's better than it was now. I'll definitely say this because Ring of Honor back before it was bought by Tony was dire straits. Was in definitely dire straits. And now it's at least in a better, stable position, I hope.
And I totally agree. So I think that's my main point is, look, if Tony Khan doesn't buy it, there's not exposure on network television for them this year. There's not necessarily, I mean, they released all the wrestlers before the sale even happened, right? They released all the contracts. And so to state that Tony Khan killed Ring of Honor. Now, I understand a more nuanced approach would be that maybe Tony Khan hasn't capitalized on the purchase given the excitement at the time of the purchase and his resources in relation to the resources of old ownership. Now, I could agree with that sentiment, but to claim that Tony Khan has hurt the brand since it's been purchased, I don't know. I don't know if you can be hurt more than releasing your entire roster. That wasn't Tony Khan.
It's a good point. That is a very, very good point.